Donald Trump's team has prepared a plan for a ceasefire in Ukraine. US President-elect also has nominated several people to hold main positions in the White House. Meanwhile, pro-Russian government in Georgia has dispersed peaceful protest in the support of European integration of the country. So what is known about Donald Trump's plan for a ceasefire in Ukraine, and how could recent nomination by the Donald Trump influence the outcome of the war? CNN reported about big plans of Mike Waltz. Mike Waltz should become the next national security advisor to the US president. So according to CNN, Mike Waltz considers several options for a ceasefire in Ukraine. So first of all, Donald Trump will seek a ceasefire in Ukraine as soon as possible, even before both sides begin serious negotiations. So this is a plan from Donald Trump's team. So Mike Waltz would demand a ceasefire without any conditions, and after this stage, Ukraine and Russia should conduct negotiations about the outcome of this war. Also, Kate Kellogg, former military commander, retired U.S. Army Lieutenant General, will become special envoy for Russia and Ukraine. Also, he will serve as a special assistant to the President Donald Trump. So according to the Kate Kellogg's plan, both Ukraine and Russia would be forced to participate in the negotiations. So Ukraine would be threatened to negotiate unless unless the military aid for Ukraine would be suspended. So also there will be some demands for the Russian side. If Russia refuses to participate in negotiations, then Ukraine would receive even more military assistance to wage the war against Russia. So this is a part of Kate Kellogg's plan, how to force both sides to participate in negotiations. But the main question is, how could Donald Trump make sure that Russia will not invade Ukraine again in the future, and what kind of security guarantees Trump is ready to provide Ukraine with to deter any kind of future attack from the Russian side? So according to Kate Kellogg, Ukraine should be provided with additional military support after the deal is reached to deter Russia from another aggression. Also, however, Ukraine's membership in NATO should be banned. Ukraine should be banned from joining NATO, according to people around Donald Trump. Also, there are other plans which involves Ukraine's membership in NATO, and other people near Donald Trump suggest that Ukraine should join NATO in exchange of a ceasefire with Russia. However, most members of Donald Trump's team oppose such ideas. They do not support that. So according to the Kate Kellogg, both sides should be forced to negotiations. However, it is interesting that Kate Kellogg supports President Biden's decision to allow Ukraine to strike deep inside Russia with Western-made weapons, because it will improve Donald Trump's negotiating position. And it's true, because such move will help Trump to put more pressure on Putin and to use this authorization as a bargaining chip to put more pressure on Putin and force him to negotiate with Ukraine in a good faith. Meanwhile, Kate Kellogg said that Russian plans and demands about demilitarization of Ukraine are not appropriate. That's why Ukraine can refuse to do that. So according to the Kate Kellogg, Russia previously demanded to limit the size of the Ukrainian armed forces. According to the Kate Kellogg, this is a non-starter, because Ukraine will not ever agree with such conditions, because Russia would like Ukraine to surrender, to capture the whole of Ukraine. That's why, according to the Kate Kellogg, Putin should be forced to negotiate with Ukraine in a good faith. So let's hope that Donald Trump will hear and will move forward with Kate Kellogg's line on Ukraine and put more pressure on Putin to force Kremlin to negotiate with Ukraine in a good faith. And that is a plan of President Zelenskyy, how this war could be ended. President Zelenskyy suggests putting more pressure on Putin, allowing Ukraine to strike deep inside Russia, providing Ukraine with additional military support just to help Ukraine to deter another attack, to put more pressure on Kremlin, to force Putin to give up his war effort and to negotiate with Ukraine in a good faith. Meanwhile, President Biden has asked the US Congress to provide Ukraine with additional military resources. US President Joe Biden is asking Congress to allocate more than $24 billion to help Ukraine to receive enough weapons in the next year. Also, Antony Blinken, US Secretary of State, said that Ukraine should have enough resources to continue its fight next year. So it is interesting whether Republican House of Congressmen, the Republican House will support this initiative. However, President Biden aims to provide Ukraine with additional weapons, which are badly needed for Ukraine to continue to deter Russian aggression. Because if the United States suspends military aid for Ukraine, even for this period of negotiations between Ukraine and Russia, Russia will use this time to regroup and attack Ukraine and to capture as much territory as they can. That's why U.S. security assistance for Ukraine should continue even during early stage of negotiations between Ukraine and Russia. And it is important that Donald Trump will understand this. Also, Jake Sullivan, U.S. National Security Advisor, said that he held numerous talks with his colleague Mike Waltz, who would become the next National Security Advisor, and President Biden's team have been negotiating and have been speaking with Donald Trump's team to conceive them that it is possible to allow Ukraine to strike deep inside Russia, and it is really important to provide Ukraine with additional military resources even during the negotiations. Meanwhile, Reuters reported that Russia will not conduct a nuclear attack on Ukraine or any kind of NATO country, according to the Western intelligence. So Western intelligence agencies are confident that Russia will not conduct a nuclear attack on any kind of nation. And Russian dictator Vladimir Putin has been bluffing about nuclear attack and has been threatening the West nuclear war, because he used this to scare, to make Donald Trump afraid of his threats and to force Trump to abandon Ukraine. This is the main aim of Vladimir Putin's strategy of threats and his blackmail. According to the Western intelligence, Russian dictator Vladimir Putin will not be able to launch nuclear weapons, and he will not do that. And if he does this, then the United States will enter the war in Ukraine and will completely destroy Russian army, according to the former US General David Petraeus. And this warning have been transmitted to the Russian government, and that's why Vladimir Putin is so afraid of NATO engaging in this conflict, because in such case Russia will lose this war badly. That's why Vladimir Putin does not want NATO to support Ukraine. He tried to threaten even new administration and to try to force Trump to abandon Ukraine. And in the end of our conversation, we will cover the latest news from Georgia. So, pro-Russian Georgian government has dispersed a peaceful protest in support of European integration to the European Union. So, pro-Russian Georgian government had dispersed the peaceful protest, and it was made exactly as it was in Ukraine in 2014 by Ukrainian dictator Viktor Yanukovych. So, according to the former foreign minister of Ukraine, Dmytro Kuleba, this move was exactly in favor of Russian propaganda, because pro-Russian government has refused to join the European Union, has changed its pathway, and also decided to ban Georgia from entering negotiations to join the European Union to 2028. That's why many people are protesting now in Georgia to support their freedom and dignity. So it's really important to understand that this government in Georgia is pro-Russian, and Kremlin, Russia Federation, and Vladimir Putin are the reasons why Georgia is not moving forward on its pathway to membership in the European Union, despite the fact that most people of Georgia would like to see their country as a member of the European Union. And this is a big sign of Russia's influence around the globe, and Russia trying to undermine democracies around the globe and undermine their sovereign choice to join the West and to move forward to the European Union. That's all for today. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, stay with us on YouTube, and glory to Ukraine!